Hello and welcome to Business Ethics for Lehman College, spring of 2024. This class is 100% online and asynchronous, meaning that you're going to get all your information from me on our Blackboard. This video is going to go over the syllabus and the instructions for your two major assignments. So you can find the syllabus in the course information and syllabus section right here. When you click on it, it's going to bring you right here. Click on the link and the syllabus pops up. If you ever need to talk to me, please email me here at erica.abraham@lehman.cuny.edu. And if you'd like to meet with me for office hours, you can email me with 3 times and dates that work for you. And that way we won't have to go back and forth trying to figure out a time. If one of those times work out, I'll pick it, I'll send you the link for the office hours, and we can meet up. Anytime during business hours, Monday through Friday, but my most available days are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I teach on campus Tuesday and Thursdays. Everything that you're going to need materials-wise is online or will be uploaded to our Blackboard in the course materials section. The business ethics book comes to us from OpenStax, and when you can click on this link right here and download it in a couple of different formats. Sometimes there will be extra reading material, and again, you can find that in the course materials. I know that a lot of you are business majors and have not necessarily taken philosophy classes. So as one of the most brief overviews I can give of academic philosophy, I can tell you that it studies the big questions in life. Almost every person who's ever been alive eventually runs up into some kind of big question. What does it mean to be a good person? How do I live a meaningful life? What happens after death? How do I know what's important to me? And there are lots of different ways to investigate the answers to those questions. People have looked to religion, people have looked to science, and people have looked to philosophy. 3 major ways. I'm sure there are plenty of others. Through religion, people ask those questions, use their human reason, but also their sacred texts and their institutional traditions. So in Christianity, that has to do with like the liturgies and the hymns and the way churches are set up and the structure of the pastors or the priests, and of course faith. Add all those together, start on your journey to figure out your personal answers to these big questions. Another way people look for meaning, truth, and knowledge in life is to study science. They use empirical data. So empirical data is just the stuff that you can get to using your senses. Traditionally, the 5 of them: taste, smell, touch, hearing, sight. Scientists now think we have dozens, but regardless of that, we can get to information about the world and ourselves through observation. Scientists, just like people of religion, use human reason. Now, philosophers differ by using reason and logic alone, at least traditionally. So what are reason and logic? You often can say, or have heard somebody else say perhaps, oh, that person is irrational, they're not reasonable. And that makes good sense for the way we normally use the word. In philosophy, though, reason just means using reasons to decide on your beliefs and your actions. And in that way, it's a fundamental tenet, rule, or law of how human beings think. You can have bad reasons, you can have bad logic, but if you are striving toward any goal, no matter how simple, like going to get a glass of water because you're thirsty, or how complicated, deciding what college you want to go to, what your major to be, what job you want to have once you graduate. You use reasons to get there. So if I have the conclusion that I want to stay dry, it's important to me to find the reasons that will help me get there. Namely, I wake up, I look out the window. If it's raining, I bring an umbrella. I check the weather. Maybe it's going to rain later. Still bring an umbrella. I'm using reasons to decide my beliefs, whether or not I think it's going to rain, and my actions, whether or not I bring an umbrella with me. Logic is how all of those reasons are tied together. So we come to beliefs, we come to conclusions, which are just statements that we think are true. And we do so by adding reasons together using logic. I said that kind of in the same way. Well, let's think about it this way. An academic argument is a set of statements. It can be 2, it can be 10,000, with which some of the statements are intended to be used as evidence to prove or disprove a conclusion. That's an academic argument. And when we study it, the evidence counts as the reasons, and the way we put them together, if they support the conclusion, they use logic well. If they don't support the conclusion, they're using poor logic. One big subtopic of philosophy is morality and ethics. Students usually come to moral philosophy as a class thinking that it's all opinion at the root of it, or at the very least, it highly depends on where you're born, when you're born, and what sort of things you were taught as a kid. And nobody wants to say that that stuff doesn't matter, but we can think about it in a slightly less subjective sort of way. Because when you have opinions, when you have preferences, those can't be questioned normally. We say, I prefer Coke to Pepsi, I like chocolate, I don't like Brussels sprouts. It doesn't really make sense for you to be like, well, why? Give me reasons why you have that preference. Someone's just going to come back and say, well, that's what I like. You don't need reasons to prove or disprove opinions or preferences. But if someone has a clash between what they think is right and wrong, it is perfectly reasonable to ask someone why they believe what they do. If you believe that, say, the death penalty is always wrong, and I believe that it's okay in some situations, I can say, well, why do you think that? And you're going to give me a list of how you prove to yourself that your belief system in this particular area is true. So whenever we admit that there are reasons that can lend support to a conclusion, we are automatically saying that there's something a little bit less subjective and a little bit more objective, something that's actually out there in the world that can shape our beliefs toward something more well supported and more well argued for. So what is morality? It's, well, what we think of as right and wrong, good and bad, how people and governments and communities ought to behave. There's a certain fact of the matter. Say we might study sociologically how much gun violence there is or how much police brutality. And those are the facts of the matter. What we say will either be true or false. It matches up to the world or not. But when we say something like, there should be less gun violence, there should be less or no police brutality, we're making a moral statement that is about our value systems. So we can apply that to our generalized lives, but we can also specifically apply it to our professional lives. And that is what we're going to do in this class. Now, morality and ethics are what we call terms of art, meaning that if you ask 10 philosophers their definition, you're going to get 10 different definitions. Generally, though, morality and moral theory is about the abstract. Can we come up with universal rules of right and wrong that people can apply in their lives, or universal ways we can build character? Whereas ethics are rules that are specific to a particular domain in our lives, like step-by-step instructions laying out what we think to be the case. Behave this way in this situation in order to behave ethically as a business person. And we'll talk about that more next week when we talk about academic morality quite extensively. This is the grading policy, the percentage grades. Everything is worth 10 points. The homework assignments are worth 10 points. The group discussions are worth 10 points. Each individual question for the midterm and final short essays are worth 10 points. And then you add all that stuff up together, and the midterm itself is worth 10% of your final grade. The final essays are worth 15% of your grade. The discussions 30, homework 35, participation 10. You might be wondering, participation in an asynchronous class? And not every single Friday, but many Fridays, I'm going to publish a feedback survey asking you what it is you might have found difficult that week, how I can communicate better with you, what you think can be improved, etc., etc. And that is the totality of your participation grade. As long as you, in good faith, answer those questions, it's just a check mark. We're going to talk about in good faith a lot this semester, and that means not cheating, sincerely attempting to connect with the material, and providing enough detail that you have at least fully attempted to try to answer the questions in their totality. Meaning if I ask you a question with like 5 parts and you only give me 1 sentence, that's not in good faith. And anything you answer in good faith automatically gets a 5 out of 10. The rubrics for the last 5 points we'll go over in just a minute. This is our reading and work schedule. This week was an anomaly because I had some technical errors on my side with setting everything up to get to you in a timely fashion. But the rest of the semester, everything is going to go live Monday morning, 6 a.m. That'll be the videos that from me that you would need to watch that are lecturing on the reading. Sometimes we'll have outside videos from other academic professionals that have uploaded their videos to YouTube, or other business professionals that have uploaded their videos to YouTube. But there will be, in all likelihood, videos every week, or most every week. Then you'll have 1 assignment per week. The group discussions and the individual homeworks alternates. And almost all of your grade depends only on you. The only small part of your grade is responding to other students' work in the group discussions. And we'll talk about that when we get to the specific instructions for that assignment. You see here, sometimes I'll have supplemental readings for you, and I'll let you know through the announcements page. So you see here on the left, course announcements. I will communicate with you extensively through those. They'll be posted up there. Most of the time, I'll also push them out to your email. And if there's any changes in the reading, if there's any changes in the assignments, or if there's supplemental material, it will be put in the announcements. So here we are this week, Chapter 1, Why Ethics Matters, in our textbook, Business Ethics. And I've already posted the lecture, which takes you to YouTube to watch Introduction/Why Ethics Matters. I think I might have done some repeat information here, but if I have, it's review. And then this will be due Sunday, February 4th by midnight. And we will take a look at that assignment, let's say right now. We can click over here, class groups. So you see this on the left. You click into that, and you can see that there are 8 groups automatically assigned. And you click through to just find your own name right here. And here are the instructions. Using the first chapter of the textbook, plus your own beliefs that you bring to the class, each of you should create your own blog post answering the question in the title, how can we balance profit and ethics? I don't expect your answers to be perfect, but I do expect you to try to follow the rubric, meaning what I show you in the assignment instructions in a minute. You're always responsible for your own answers. 7 out of 10 points for this assignment are the 3 to 4 paragraph blog posts that you put up answering this question. And how are you going to write 3 to 4 paragraphs? Well, make sure you are connecting with the class material, not just your opinion. Look for what the textbook tries to convince you is how we might balance profit and ethics. We know that in the business world, profit matters. Just doing what is right and wrong is something that is good for companies, it's good for individuals, and often centers with our own personal values. So there are arguments in our textbook that try to convince you there are ways we can do this. You summarize those in your own words, and then you give your own viewpoint in the last paragraph or 2 paragraphs. I ask you to try and publish your blog post by Saturday night so your fellow students can comment on your blog post. When you click on the group blog, it's going to take you to where you put your own entry in. Create blog entry right here. You title it, and you can copy and paste your answers into the text box. You can attach files if you want a PDF or a document, a Word document. I do stress that you probably shouldn't write your answer out on Blackboard because it has a tendency to lose work if the timeout is too long. So if you were on this page for a half an hour or 45 minutes and you tried to post your entry, sometimes it might lose it. So I would recommend that you write in a different text editor and copy and paste it into this text box. What about my rubric? You can find the, oh, I didn't upload them yet, but I do have it over here. Group discussion instructions, business ethics. So you go to, this tells you the technical stuff. Class groups, you find your name. Make sure you're doing the readings and watching the videos first. That's what you do here. It says I have it linked in the week by week section. The first video I actually just linked in the announcements, I think, but I'll move them all over to the week by week section. So for week 2, you'll be able to find the videos for week 2. For week 3, you'll find the videos for week 3. Read the material, watch the videos, and then that's when you do your summary of the main topics that I've asked you about in the assignment instructions. You don't have to explain every small detail, focus on the big picture. State main conclusions at the top of paragraphs, spend the rest of paragraphs explaining the evidence. This is the factual part. You are paraphrasing the ideas of the textbook in your own words. Then you respond to the material, give your thoughts. Is there something that confused you? Is there something you strongly agreed with or disagreed with, and why? Always ask why. If you're lost about what more to write, read what you've written and say, why do I believe that? Why do I think that that's true? And then write it out. Give definitions of jargon terms. I didn't change. This is the old version of it. Oh no. Okay. If you sincerely attempted the assignment, you automatically get Well, no, that's right, because the essay portion is worth 7, so it's roughly half. And if you automatically get 4 out of 10, and the remaining 6 points are, okay, I don't want to have to restart after this the whole time. 10 points, 7 points for your essay, 3 points for each, 1 point for each comment that you give to your other fellow students. You automatically get 4 out of 10 if you have a sincere attempt. Those extra 3 points are for giving a thorough summary and connecting to the material, and then 1 point for each of your responses to other students. And some more sort of background information. And we can also move to the homework instructions. So next week you'll have a homework. I will ask you 3 to 5 short questions. So each of those questions will be 1 to 3 paragraph responses. Please answer in full sentences. Do not use quotes, only paraphrasing. Paraphrasing someone else's ideas forces you to think through them on your own instead of just copy pasting what they said in the quotations. An example question might be from next week, what are consequentialist ethics? And you'll learn about that in chapter 2. I explain both a strength and a weakness of that variety of ethics. So this is where you get 5 out of 10 automatically. I'll deduct points if you don't have any connection to the class materials, meaning you're just giving me your opinion, you're not connecting to the chapter at all. I don't grade on grammar unless I can't understand what you're saying. And if there are serious answers in understanding, meaning you're talking about some other topic altogether, you'll get some points deducted. And as always, email me with questions and comments. I know I wasn't 100% clear with these group discussion instructions. Please double check when I upload them to the course information and syllabus. I will have it all fixed, so it will be completely accurate at that point. Otherwise, I will see you next week in the videos for week 3.